तू मुझे नवाजे तेरा कर्म है वरना तेरी रहमतों का बदला मेरी बंदगी नहीं। काशी टीवी देखने वाले सारे व्यूअर्स ਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਬਲਬੀਰ ਕੌਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਸਲਾਮ, ਨਮਸਤੇ ਐਂਡ ਵੈਰੀ ਗੁੱਡ ਮਾਰਨਿੰਗ, ਗੁੱਡ ਆਫਟਰਨੂਨ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਸ਼ੀ ਟੀਵੀ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਹਾਲ ਟੋਕ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਈ ਹਾਂ ਅਗੇਨ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਗੈਸਟ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਾਸ਼ੀ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਆਏ ਸੀ ਲਾਸਟ ਈਅਰ। ਸੋ ਐਵਰੀ ਈਅਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਚਾਂਸ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਆਉਣ ਦਾ। ਸੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਹੋਰ ਕਾਫੀ ਉਪਰਾਲੇ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ, ਆਪਣੀ ਬੁੱਕ ਕੱਢੀ ਹੈ, ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰਿਲੇਟਿਡ ਆਰਟੀਕਲਸ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਪਾਰਟਿਸਿਪੇਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ। एंड आई एम श्योर ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ याद होएगा कि सतविंदर इज़ इट सतविंदर सागू ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੇ ਸੀ ਕਾਸ਼ੀ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਲਥ ਟੋਕ ਸ਼ੋ ਹੈ ਬੇਸਡ ਔਨ ਸਾਡਾ ਰਹੇਗਾ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ, ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਐਂਡ ਮੈਨੋਪੌਜ਼ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ। ਸੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਬੁੱਕਸ ਲਿਖੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਕੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਹਿਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਕਿਹੜੇ ਦੌਰ ਤੋਂ ਇਹ ਗੁਜ਼ਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਐਂਡ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੋਲਵ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਵੈਨ ਹੀ ਵਾਜ਼ ਇਨ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ, ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ। ਸੋ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਕੀਤੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿਊਅਰਸ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਅਪਣਾਉਣ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਜਾਂ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਨਿਕਲਣਾ ਹੋਏ ਤੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਤਵਿੰਦਰ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੌਸਲਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਪਣਾ ਕੇ ਇਸ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਐਂਡ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਚੋਂ ਨਿਕਲੇ, ਇਸੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਈ ਵਿਊਅਰਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਸ ਦੌਰ ਤੋਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਰਾਹਤ ਪਾ ਸਕਣ। ਸੋ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਾਸ਼ੀ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਸਤਵਿੰਦਰ ਸਾਗੂ ਦਾ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਾਸ਼ੀ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੀਮਤੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ। ਸੋ ਸਤਵਿੰਦਰ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸੋ much for coming again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Nice to be back on here.
हाँ जी, तुसी काफ़ी कुछ अचीव किया सतविंदर इस टाइम दे विच। यू हैड अ रेडियो शो इन द मॉर्निंग, सो कितने बिजी हो गए हो तुसी, है ना?
very busy, बहुत बिजी हो गई सी। पहला सवेरे रेडियो शो सी ना,
हाँ जी,
Health is Wealth, that was talking about depression, anxiety, perimenopause, which a lot of women go through, and obviously I've been on the receiving end of, and also trauma, because you know we've just come out of COVID. And then obviously जिथे उक्रेन च वॉर होंदा है ना, और भी बहुत दुखी होंदा लोग किन्नू ना, बहुत दुखी लंदा होंदा ना। So it's got to now it's important that people become aware of it now. You know, people need help now more than ever.
हाँ जी, सही गल है ताड़ी, बिकॉज कुछ ना कुछ अपने वर्ल्ड दे विच इदा हो रहा या साडी हेल्थ नू प्रॉब्लम हैगी है ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ रिलेटेड ਜਿਹੜੇ इशू है, चाहे वॉर होए चाहे कोविड-19 होए, इट्स रिलेटेड टू ईच अदर, चाहे साडी जर्नल हेल्थ होए। सो सतविंदर ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਫਸਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਇੰਟਰੋਡਕਸ਼ਨ ਦੱਸ ਦਿਓ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ, what you do. I know you're author, what else you been doing as well?
Yeah, so I'm an author. This is my book. It's called Unleash Your Power. So you can obviously tell I'm hypnotising everybody with my positivity. I'm also a speaker. So I do go around events and I speak to help lift and motivate people who are going through trauma, depression, anxiety, perimenopause. And I'm also a mindset and resilience coach. I've recently launched a mindset and resilience coaching program called Power Up, which is dedicated to helping people who are going through depression, anxiety, trauma, and also women going through perimenopause and menopause find their lost motivation and take back their power, so sort of believe in themselves that they can actually come through it. So I obviously wrote the book, and because of my book became a bestseller, so I then was invited to co-author in another book which became a #1 bestseller. So I co-authored this with another 39 authors. And then on social media, because I'm I'm a lot on social media, and I was recognised for my positivity. So I was invited by a global publication company called Passion Vista, and they invited me to become one of the 40 men world leaders to look up to in 2021. And they loved me so much that they actually decided to put me on the front cover of that magazine. So you know, it just goes to show that when you put yourself out there, when you're reaching out to people, you get recognised. But it's uplifting to actually help so many people in that society. So it's been a very busy time.
Busy time, and it's you know it's मैं कहांगी कि जेड़ा तुसी time कहंदे हो busy, it was like you develop a lot within that time. How much work you've been doing for community, and तुसी first book कड्डी, उस तो बाद तुहाडी second book आई. Now you are you know front page of this book as well. So how do you feel after you know struggling all your anxiety, depression तुसी गुजरे, now you are where you are? How do you feel about it?
It feels amazing, mainly because when you go through that, and at the time you realize na ke che hon nera che hana kadi kadi light nahi hunda.
Hanji.
But you keep trying and then eventually the light comes there, and because of that it's a simple case of I changed my story to yes I can, and then I just decided to do things a little at a time, just small steps, because when you're suffering depression and anxiety you have to take small steps sometimes. You can't expect to move fast, but I did that every day. And then what happened is it just built up over time, and then to achieve that is just amazing, because it shows that even at your worst time, just when you feel you can't do it, you can do it, you can pull through.
So ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕਹਿਣ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਛੋਟੇ ਸਟੈਪ ਸਾਡੇ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਬਿਹਤਰੀਨ ਬਣਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਸਮੋਲ ਸਟੈਪ ਤੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰਦੇ then we take the bigger step and the bigger step as well ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਛੋਟੇ ਸਟੈਪ ਤੋਂ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਸਤਵਿੰਦਰ ਮੈਂ ਜਾਣਨਾ ਚਾਹਾਂਗੀ ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ ਅ ਬੁੱਕ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਬੁੱਕ ਲਿਖੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਕੀ ਫੀਲ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ why did you wanted to write this book?
I wanted to write it because there's always people out there that are holding on to dear life with their inspiration. ਲੋਕ ਨਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ depressed ਹੋ ਗਏ ਹਨਾ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ that's it my life ਹੁਣ ਛੱਡਣਾ ਹਨਾ they end their life. So when people read my book at least I know that I will be saving a few lives, because I've had
Can I see this?
Yeah, sure. I've had people who are going through depression and anxiety who've actually read my book, and they've messaged me and they said, if I didn't have your book, I probably wouldn't be here. There was a woman who was going through perimenopause and she was feeling suicidal. She read my book and she said, oh my God, I didn't think a book could lift me up, and I was feeling depressed, I didn't know why. So the fact that, and it's not just me, any author that does something like this and puts it out there, you're actually potentially saving lives, because there's always somebody that needs that inspiration to actually stop them from taking their own life. So for me, it was about lifting other people, because when you lift other people, when you make them feel good, it makes you feel good as well, doesn't it?
Definitely. I think it's a reflection, isn't it? ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਉਹੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ. But I like this first page ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੈ. I will like you to read actually.
Yeah, okay.
So Satvinder read karenge, because it's the way he's written is so nice.
So this book is for you if you are looking to sharpen your focus and break through obstacles. If you suffer from confidence and anxiety issues, which I've done, if you've made huge mistakes in your life and you feel there is absolutely no way back, because we all make mistakes, I've made some horrendous mistakes in my life. You've had a relationship or marriage breakdowns, which I've had, which have created self-doubt, knocked you confidence in relationships. Your marriage or relationship breakdown has had an effect on the relationship with your kids, big one. You've suffered nasty injuries which have knocked your confidence about and getting back out there. You are a constant worry and panic like crazy, and the nation's doing that now more than ever.
Definitely,
with COVID and obviously with the war going on. You're working towards an important goal, and you need to power up that tenacity, so you need that extra sort of boost to make you believe you can do it. You've got physical restrictions causing you lack of confidence in achieving this goal. So I've got inverted toes, so my big toes go in like that, both of them, and some of my little toes overlap. And I was bullied badly at school because of it, but then obviously 30 years later I've got 2 black belts in martial arts, and I'm doing stunt martial arts. You've been going through depression. You've lost hope in life as a result from suffering from unexpected happenings, such as debts, such as a life setback. You're looking to enhance your self-esteem. The study culture is very important. People say that they bring down your self-esteem, and I think it's important for you to hold that up. You value giving as a gift, and you have the desire to help others. You have lost a loved one. I've lost my best friend, and you're being put down and told to forget about your dreams and inspirations.
Wow, that's for everybody, that mean.
Yeah.
How do you feel, Sati, when you coming from Asian background, Indian background, है ना, कि तानु काफी difficulty दा सामना करना पिया सीगा कि जदों when you are, I mean, there isn't many male who's writers, book writers, authors नहीं हैगे. So how did you establish yourself? What made you so strong?
It was just the culture thing is an interesting one, है ना, क्योंकि in our culture, I got used to hearing, you're wasting your time with this, you're wasting your time with that. There was a lot of ego that was thrown at me, and it dented my confidence. But you know, to come out with that, you answer your critics. You've almost used that criticism as power and said, you know, well, actually, I can do it. And I think it's important for this society because there's so much racism going on. Racism, there's so much of it going on, you know. But to do this, for me, it shows and it sort of puts a stamp on that. You know what? This world is one color, one culture. You know, there is no black, white, Indian. We're all one culture. You know, we all live to achieve dreams. You know, so to bring that out, you know, it's nice for us Asians to come out and do that. There's a lot of other Asians doing it, but most importantly, it just bridges the gap between society. It makes a society whole, and I think that's very, very important. That everybody sees each other as an equal. You know, there's no stereotypes, there's no judgment, you know, because there's so much of that, and I think that needs to be cut out.
कहते कि खून तो सारे दा सेम है, if you कोई religion नहीं है, कोई gender नहीं है, blood तो सारे दा लाल ही निकलना, so we shouldn't, you know, criticize. But you know, what attracted me in this book is your marriage or relationship breakdown has had an effect on you, the relationship with your kids. I want to talk about more because I think there is a coronavirus the time they which there is a lot of breakdown happen, lot of marriages, you know, they have divorce and all that. Especially the effect on man's mental health was a lot that time. Even though the, you know, breakdown hunda, divorce hunda, that's a different. But jada coronavirus the which time the which hoya see man wasn't allowed to see their children either.
No, correct.
Could you tell me a little bit more about that? How did you feel? I mean, if you feel like, you know, how did you feel that time when you wasn't with your children? What was your feeling and how did you get through that time?
Well, my marriage broke down 8 years ago, and I woke up one day to find that the house had been totally emptied out and evacuated, and this isn't me to say that my ex-wife is a bad person. I'm going to publicly say it again, that she's an amazing person. You know, she's given me 2 beautiful children, and you know, the interaction between us has been great. So I always think it's important to recognise that she's amazing. But obviously I found the house emptied and I was on my own, so you know, I was able to see my kids, but it wasn't the same as having them there. So it was very different. So it took me time to embrace that. You know, to suddenly go from a family man to having to go out of your way to see kids because you don't see them every day was difficult. And through 2017, I went nearly a year without seeing the kids because of some breakdown. But obviously I went to court, fought for them, you know, got a court order, excuse me, which is great. So I see them every other week, which is good. It was hard. It's always going to be hard when you don't see your kids for a while, but you know, what we've got to appreciate is when breakups happen, kids are in the middle. I think the most important thing is you have to look at it from their point of view, how difficult it is for them, because a lot of families, a lot of sort of partners when they split, they think about themselves and what their needs are.
That's true.
It's the needs of the kids that matter most. You know, understanding what they're going through, what they're thinking, their torn loyalties. You know, I think is a big thing. So for me, just doing that and knowing that I'm always going to be the father, nothing's going to take that away from me, and that as they get older, you know, they'll be able to appreciate me more. You know, that's I always saw the positive side of things. And
so Satvinder Tarakanda matlab it was difficult, but you managed to get through. But how did you get through? Did you do some you know, certain change activities, or did you join something? Did you had counseling? What things you went through to get better within yourself?
The focus was, the funny thing to say, that the focus was on working myself, building myself up, because lucky when they live life, रोज कहता ओ मुंडा बड़ा सोना काम करता ओ बड़ा सोना काम करता ओ चीज़ ना that's really nice. They invest too much energy on other things. They forget about themselves. So I worked on myself.
So self-love.
Self-love, that's exactly what it is, self-love. Building yourself up. So I was doing my martial arts more, I was weightlifting more. Obviously I got my Xbox. I did just little things. I was surrounding my room with positivity, everything, you know, little things that made a difference, writing things down, sticking them on my wardrobe, positive things. So when I wake up, I have something positive saying. I was changing my ringtones. So on my phone, I have notifications from my favourite films that uplift me, and suddenly everything was just positive. So focusing on myself made me realise that actually, you know what, life is better than I actually thought it was. You know, and I always say to people, you know, when your heart's broken in any way, turn to the one person that will never break your heart, and that is you.
That's so true. That's so true. I agree
the funny
with you
thing is, on Facebook, because I've got 2 accounts on Facebook, I actually changed my relationship status to in a relationship with me. So it's quite comical, but it just emphasises the point that when you put yourself first, and the universe starts to appreciate you more, and you get that love in abundance when you least expect it.
We're going to talk about the affirmation as well. Satvinder, firstly, you know, when we talk about depression, what is depression in your point of view? If we say as an Asian man, what kind of depression Asian man goes through compared to, you know, other society? I think there is quite different things we Asian men go through.
Yeah. I personally just put it down to a man. Like I said, I don't put it as Asian or white. I put it down to a man. But
yeah,
I think it's a case of, from a male point of view, nobody cares. You know, my life isn't meant to be rosy. You know, why is everybody? You know, why am I the victim and I'm a good person, and everybody else who's not so good, they get it all these way? And it's a case of feeling lonely, feeling hurt by things that you don't deserve to be on the receiving end of. That for me is what, you know, depression from a male perspective.
Okay.
But depression in general is basically just a complete loss of confidence and motivation, and the will to just move on. And I've been there, because when I was depressed and anxious, I was just sat on one spot for days. I wasn't eating properly, I wasn't drinking properly, it was hard. And it can be a hard thing to overcome if you don't act quickly.
Yeah.
And one of the things I did was reach out. Now, I didn't go counselling doctors because, yes, they're there, but the problem I had, and this is just a person, was that doctors and counsellors, there's a standard way that they follow things and they ask questions, but I needed somebody unique that would understand me better. So I reached out on social media and spoke about my problems, and that's when I started to get people relating to me, and then I started developing a support circle. You know, a support circle of people that understood me, so I could reach out to and support, and they'd be like, yeah, I understand what you're going through. So I didn't want the formalities of, you know, questions that are asked to everybody all at once. I wanted unique sort of reach out people that got me in a personal sense.
Very unique way, but I think is very effective way as well, because when you go to doctor or you get counseling, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're doing talk therapy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And in a way you decided to do it yourself, so you can express yourself, which is good, which is a similar thing, but it's on your point of view. You can put it forward, and you know, people who wants to hear you, they will hear you, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And you made a platform for yourself, which is now, you know, recognizable as well.
Yeah.
So Suki, I would like to know more about, you know, when you was in depression, what made you go into depression? Was there certain issues happen in your family that made you go in depression? What things are they that, you know, in every day there is lots of things which make
lots of things. I mean, I talk about it in my book, but you know, I lost my best friend 13 years ago, and the fact I couldn't go to his funeral because my wife was then heavily pregnant with our second child, so I obviously had to look after our child. Being bullied at school, that really knocked me back, because obviously people were mocking me. I couldn't run fast, I couldn't even hop. I know, and I nearly quit martial arts, but you know, thankfully I found
I've
a way.
seen that you're doing amazing.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm practicing doing stunt moves, but you see the films. So I'm working on that.
Right.
Relationship, obviously, the relationship breakdown, the marriage breakdown was a big one for me, and obviously, it was bad enough losing a marriage of 10 years, but then to have another further 3 failed relationships, that really knocked me, because I was like, am I ever gonna, you know, have that happiness? You know, and obviously when I was in the house and I was hugely in debt, I was thinking everybody else is nice and rosy financially, but I'm not. I'm in a mess. So those things were really the big things that got me down. Obviously also loss of contact with my children for a while, and obviously while I was fighting, and this is big, while I was fighting to see my children, who I hadn't seen for 1 year. At the same time, I actually went out and spoke out in a massive showcase in front of 6,000 people, sharing my story. So you can imagine doing that on top of everything, but I did it. Wow. But the point is, those are the things that really knocked me. But there are also things that made me as well. So it's funny really, because jara cheez tanu torda na tanu also tanu bi branda. It builds you up.
That's so true. Absolutely right. Sati, jado tusi is door cho guzar rahe se, you know that you're going through depression, but you were so strong enough to fight back.
Yeah.
You were a warrior. But kai log jehde hunde o nahi fight back kar sakde. So ode ਲਈ ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਟੈਕਨੀਕਸ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਪਣਾਈਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ, depression ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ you made prescription for yourself, isn't it? I would like to share that. Ki how did you, I think it's very cute and nice.
Yes.
It's I think it helped because when you write a lot of things, you tend to know why I'm good at. ਕਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਮੈਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ anxiety, depression ਹੋਏ, ਕਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਮੈਨੂੰ happy ਕਰ ਦਿਆ. Everybody has their own happiness getting way, music sunna ya other activities they do. So if they make a list, but I would like to know about your list, which is I think is quite helpful for our viewers well-being.
So my prescription
so is prescription sunde
my prescription is a healthy diet, so healthy food, healthy mental diet. So writing down positive affirmations, sticking them on my wardrobe, my ringtones on my phone that I created, my Xbox, which I play every night, which is good because I'm a big video games fan, weightlifting, and since the last time we spoke, I've actually put on a bit of muscle now. I've put on 2 inches on my arms, 2 inches on my chest and everything. It's self-love, and just positivity on social media, always putting out good things and knowing that you've come so far. I do a lot of writing on articles as well. I've got an article at a website. I write articles for other people as well. And goals, really, setting goals, knowing where you want to be and having that ambition and saying, you know what, yes, I can do it. And it's just creating yourself, really, and appreciating yourself and celebrating everything. Because when we are with other people or when we are down, we forget ourselves what we've achieved. But when we sit down and say, well, actually, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that, and you remind yourself that actually, you know what, I've done so much more than I actually thought. So yeah, I wrote that down in a kind of a doctor's prescription and looked at it and I thought, this is just brilliant. So I put it down and I thought, well, that's my medical prescription. And then it just reminded me, well, actually, no, you didn't need to go to a doctor because you are actually your own doctor, aren't you?
Which I really like about, because I think हर एक इंसान नू अपने बारे पता हुंदा, उन्होंने पता है कि ऐसी केड़ी मेडिसिन लेनी है. So सुखी ने जड़ी अपनी prescription जड़ी medicine जड़ी सीगी depression दी बनाई है ना ने. I really like the way patients, myself, illness, depression, then you written prescription.
Yeah.
Your daughter first, isn't it, to talk to your daughter?
Yeah.
Which is, I think, is important when you are going through depression. You don't know who to talk.
Yeah.
But when you talk to your children, you feel quite lift up.
Absolutely, and my mum as well. And if
you're really close to your mum, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
So how did your mum help you? When you was going through depression? I know all mums are there, but
yeah, she was there. She always came over. She always phoned me. I mean, she phones me every day now. Every morning, every evening. How are you? Everything all right? Just let me know when you're at home. Do you need any food? It's coming over to me and seeing if I'm all right, talking to me and everything. And sometimes if I needed a bit of money, she's like, yeah, have some money. So,
that's
just things like that.
So
yeah.
Good. So you wasn't good in cooking, that mean?
I learned from her, but I haven't cooked as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, she taught me how to cook,
I think next is that you learning how important is cooking. Healthy diet is well, nutrition-wise, isn't it? So next time when you come,
yes,
we need to know about the nutrition diet.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, the microphone fell off then. Yeah, fine. Absolutely. That's another thing I've really got my head into, healthy cooking, nutrition. I have a lot of fruit shakes and I've been having it for the past few years, and it's served my immune system well. Just reading up on little things like that, helping me to grow. Anything that helps me to grow in life it is good for me, and that's kind of like another sort of self-prescription, as you like to put it. But it's all about putting yourself first, focusing on yourself.
Yes, so self-love is more important.
Absolutely.
You did say that, you know, you like music as well, and there is a lot of music.
Yes.
Which kind of music do you listen? Sometimes, you know, when you are depression, you are listening to very sad songs.
I'm a huge trance fan. I love trance music. Because it's very energetic, and I'm also a huge fan of epic music, because you know the music that you hear on film trailers, which builds you up and it's something inspiring. That type of music, I like that. I like drum and bass. So yeah, it's music. When you listen to the right music and you just visualize your future, sometimes you can use the music to visualize your future. It's almost like a trailer to your own life story.
So it's like, you know, the music is going on, and then you can imagine yourself. You are in that type of,
in that, you know, moment,
yeah. Powerful music, you know, yeah. Not sad music and getting depression, yeah, again, exactly. More. So it has to be more motivated.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm actually going to a trance event this Saturday with a few friends. So that's going to be something, and that's another thing. Get out there as well. Don't stay in the house. You know, I was always going for walks and everything. Appreciated the nature. But when you stay in the house, that's when your mind focuses on what's going on. It's like sometimes you've got to keep yourself occupied.
Definitely. So weightlifting as well. So how many you know, hours or how long you should be doing? Sometimes, you know, certain people don't know how much you know, they need to go out, how much they need to do weightlifting, or if they're doing certain exercises. You know, it does help with depression, but how much they have to do, how much you used to do to get rid of your tension or anxiety?
I think it varies from person to person, but I weight train. My weight training sessions last about an hour.
1 hour.
I would say hour 15 minutes max. And then I also on top of that take a break, and then I martial arts train as well. So I do a lot of sort of work on myself for it, because I'm working on a massive project. Which I'm hopefully going to do by the summer of July, August time.
So we have to call you again, that means?
it's a massive martial arts project. I don't know whether you've heard of Mortal Kombat.
I don't know much about, honestly.
Well, cut a long story short, I'm bringing one of the characters from there to life in a video shoot, so I'm really looking forward to that. But again, that's the power of when you're down, you're setting yourself a goal, a big goal, and that's what's driving me to train so much, because I've got a purpose, I've got something to work for, and that's also very important when you're feeling depressed and anxious. You have something to work for, and you just go for it. But also when you're anxious, listen to your body and understand the reasons why you get anxious. So for example, me, if I have too many things happening at once, I get overwhelmed, so I have to calm down and make sure I have a stopgap, a time to where I can sit down and just switch off. And I think that's so important as well, to understand your body and connect with yourself.
So cheat day.
Cheat day, yes.
So
cheat day on a Saturday.
Saturday. So you have to have some time, you know, where you can, you know, do whatever you want, eat whatever you want.
You've been following my social media posts, probably.
Yes, that's why we're supposed to.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, I have a cheat day. So you can't. People often say you've got to be healthy every single time. It's not the truth. You know, you've got to. I use it to reward myself. So what I do is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday I eat healthy. Wednesday I have a bit of a break. I have a sweet treat. And then I'll go back to healthy eating. Thursday, Friday, healthy eating. Saturday, I just eat whatever I want.
Free?
Yes, free. Again, within reasons. I'm still going to keep my calories, but that's the work I've done on myself, the research, the understanding. You know, and again, it's all started from being depressed. But the funny thing is, by being depressed, by being down, by being in the darkness, that's when we truly find our strength, and that's when we grow. Because if nothing bad happened to us, we would never find our strength, would we?
That's so true. All the experience we gain from our life, good or bad, we tend to learn from it, and you know, that's how we help other people as well, or help ourselves within.
Yeah.
So Sukhi, you know, you written a book. So what inspire you from other people? Like, you know, which people are around you who inspire you? There should be somebody who is inspire you. Yeah, मैं इधे वर्गू करना, या मैं इदा कर रहा, तो मेरी life चढ़िया better होगी.
Yeah, there's so many people I could pinpoint. I might actually shout him out in the program just to say thank you. But there was a guy called Michael Katkar, who was a managing director. So Michael, if you're watching, Thank you very much for your inspiration. But he was the one who directed me and said, you know, this is the publishing house. So, you know, and he wrote 4 successful books as well. So, yeah, he directed me to the author guy, and then obviously I met him. And then he actually made it happen because at the time our network marketing business went down. So I had to find a way to make that happen. And he said, you've got to make that happen. It's either now or never. And there's another friend of mine, she lives in Kent, her name's Kizzy Nicholson. So again, Kizzy, if you're watching, big shout out to you. Thank you very much for all your love, support, inspiration. But she's been a massive business role model for me, and I'm kind of following her as to what she does, and she's always been there to encourage and support. So yeah, you know, I met so many people. There's so many people I've met who have encouraged me. At the time, there was a woman called Brenda Dempsey who got me. She's actually authored this book, but she actually got me into this book. So thank you, Brenda, as well. You know, and these are people when. At the time I was feeling down, and this is when my last relationship broke down, there were people who were at the standard that I wanted to be. And this is the most important thing, that you surround yourself by the people who are where you want to be. A lot of people surround themselves by people who aren't at the level, or who are always being toxic and negative. The most important thing, and this is a big thing for depression and anxiety, people are being toxic, and it doesn't matter whether they're your friends or family. If they are giving you toxicity in your life, you need to get them out, you know, and focus on having people that will just give you encouragement and positivity and will lift you up when you feel down and will lift you up to a standard that you want to be. I think that's very important.
You know, this is so lovely message, but I want you to translate and tell in Punjabi, you know. So I'll tell सतविंदर ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਹੋਣੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਨੇ। ਉਹਦਾ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਲੋਕ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਣਗੇ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਨੂੰ ਵਧਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ। ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵ ਲੋਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ 'ਚ ਲੈ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ। ਅਗਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵਿਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਲਓਗੇ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਇਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵ ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ 'ਚ ਲੈ ਜਾਣਗੇ। ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵ ਹਟਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ 'ਚੋਂ ਤੇ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੱਟਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੀ ਲਾਈਫ 'ਚੋਂ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਐਟਮੋਸਫੇਅਰ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਦੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਹੋਗੇ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ flourish ਹੋਗੇ, ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
So ਇਹੋ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਸੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਇਹੋ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਸੀਗਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ?
Yeah, that's exactly
so
what it was.
ਇਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਥੱਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਗਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀਜ਼ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਜਾਂ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ, ਅਗਰ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵ ਲੋਕ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵ ਵਾਈਬਸ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਕਰਨਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਕੱਟ ਆਫ ਕਰੋ। ਆਈ ਨੋ ਇਟਸ ਵੈਰੀ ਡਿਫਿਕਲਟ ਸਮਟਾਈਮ, ਬਹੁਤ ਔਖਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਡੀ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਕੁਛ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੈ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ, ਗੱਲ ਗੱਲ ਤੇ ਤਾਨੇ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਦੇਣੇ। ਅਗਰ ਕੋਈ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਡਾਊਨ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਲਾਈਫ 'ਚ ਬੁਰਾ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ 4-5 ਗੱਲਾਂ ਮਸਾਲੇ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਕਰ ਦੇਣੀਆਂ, ਵਿਚ ਇਜ਼ ਵੈਰੀ ਬੈਡ। ਬਟ ਚੱਲਾਂਗੇ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਹੋਰ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ। ਸੋ ਵਾਈ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ ਇਜ਼ ਸੋ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ? ਯੂ ਆਰ ਸੇਇੰਗ ਦੈਟ ਯੂ ਰੀਡ 1 hour। To me it's very important, you know, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਬੁੱਕ ਸ਼ੈਲਫ ਹੋਣੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ। you know, you should have books where you can read, because ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਬੁੱਕ ਨੂੰ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਆ ਉਹਦੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹਦੀ ਵਾਈਬਸ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, how that person been through, and ਇੱਕ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪੂਰੀ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ there is this type of person as well, and ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਛੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਗ੍ਰੈਂਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ। so why do you think in your point of view ਕਿ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ ਕਿਉਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ 'ਚ ਹੋ ਤੇ 1 ਘੰਟਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬੁੱਕ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਪੜ੍ਹਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ।
ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਰਡ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਾਵਰ ਦਿੰਦਾ। so when you're reading there's always something in a book that's always going to give you inspiration. When you're reading a story about what somebody else went through and that you can relate to that, it lifts you up. When you're reading things about, you know, what people do or just generally how they see positivity and how you can change your mindset, that is very, very powerful. It's a way of growing. It brings light into your darkness. I know the minute you're feeling negative and suddenly you pick up a book and go, you know, this person did this, this and that, you know. When you change your attitude, you can, just simple things like that. When you read that, it's positive mental diet. When you have a positive mental diet, that's the stability of everything that grows good from there.
So true.
It is, you know.
I think ਜਿਹੜੀ books ਨੇ is like ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਝ ਸਿੱਖਦੇ ਹੋ ਸਮਟਾਈਮ ਯੂ ਨੋਟ ਗੈਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਯੂ ਨੋ ਉਹਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੈਪਟਾਪ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਰੀਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਦਾ ਬਟ ਹੋਲਡਿੰਗ ਅ ਬੁੱਕ I don't know, it's something different.
Yeah.
It's like looking, because I always have book in my bag.
Yeah.
I always carry koi bhi kitab hoye, I used to carry and read in my free time when I'm at work. To me books are very important, पर कई लोग की हुंदे books नहीं पढ़ते, but I will advise them books ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਪੜ੍ਹਨੀਆਂ ਚਾਹੀਦੀਆਂ.
Absolutely.
I think ਜਿਹੜੇ ਘਰ 'ਚ books ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ knowledge ਕਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, so to keep your knowledge read books.
Absolutely.
And you know, I think ਜਿਹੜੀ books ਜਦੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਲਿਖਦਾ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੈਰੈਕਟਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਉੱਭਰ ਕੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਉਂਦਾ, ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਉਹ ਉਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੋਂ ਗੁਜ਼ਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹ ਬੁੱਕ ਲਿਖਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਬੁੱਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰੇ ਭਰੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਨੇ ਸਟਰਗਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਸਟਰਗਲ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਨਿਕਲਿਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਉਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਈਜ਼ਲੀ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਅਗਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਿ ਸੁਖੀ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ 'ਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਲਿਸਟ ਬਣਾਈ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਈਜ਼ ਆਫ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ, ਅਸੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਨਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਫੋਲੋ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਵਿਚ ਇਜ਼ ਵੈਰੀ ਈਜ਼ੀ ਸਟੈਪ, ਸੋ ਯੂ ਡੋਂਟ ਹੈਵ ਟੂ ਗੋ ਥਰੂ ਦੈਟ, ਇਜ਼ਨਟ ਇਟ?
ਐਬਸੋਲੂਟਲੀ।
ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਬੁੱਕ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਸੁਖੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ 'ਚ ਸੀਗੇ, ਕਿਹੜੀ ਬੁੱਕ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਨਸਪਾਇਰ ਕੀਤੀ?
There was a book I read called Attitude is Everything.
Attitude is Everything.
Yeah. There was another book called The Slight Edge. Because in that book the author said some things are easy to do and some things are easy not to do, so it's all about choice. I've read a lot of other books as well, but those are the main two that really uplifted me, because it changed my mindset, it changed my attitude to life. When my attitude was feeling negative, when I picked up those books, it changed my outlook, and that's when I started firing on all cylinders and said, right, let's go, let's do this. You know, and funnily, some of the films I was watching as well, I like Transformers.
I was going to talk about that, inspiring videos. Yeah.
I like Transformers. I like Lord of the Rings, because in both those films there's a scene of rebirth, somebody going and then coming back as a more powerful version of himself, and that's what this happens when you're going through depression. You feel like you're going and you disappear into the abyss, and then suddenly when you come through it you're like a brand new version of the original self, you're more powerful. So yeah, those are the main two films, but also funny enough in video games, I mean I'm a massive Sonic the Hedgehog fan, the Blue Hedgehog, and I like that because he's all about energy and he's all about thriving. So when things bad happen to you, when there's a war, he just smiles and he goes, let's go, I'm going to enjoy this. And sometimes, as weird as it is, when things happen, you've got to learn to enjoy and thrive knowing that you're going to grow from it. So it's little childhood pleasures in my life, you know, whether it's from video games, whether it's from films. Superman was another one, because my mum took me to watch that when I was 4, and she said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, well, I want to be Superman, I want to fly and save the world. And it's funny that in a way we're actually doing that now, aren't we? So
you are doing, actually, you're right. So inspiring video ਸੁਖੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਨੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਗੁਜ਼ਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। ਇੰਸਪਾਇਰ ਜੋ ਲੋਕ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵਿਟੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਗਰ ਵੀਡੀਓਜ਼ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਚੋਂ ਨਿਕਲਣ ਦੇ ਲਈ, ਐਂਡ ਇੱਕ ਮੋਟੀਵੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਊਰਜਾ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਚੋਂ ਨਿਕਲਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਅਗਰ ਇਹ ਲੋਕ ਨਿਕਲ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਵਾਈ ਕਾਂਟ ਵੀ ਗੈਟ ਆਊਟ ਆਫ ਇਟ ਐਜ਼ ਵੈਲ। ਸੋ ਇੱਕ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੇਰਨਾ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਚੋਂ ਨਿਕਲ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ, ਦੈਟਸ ਨਥਿੰਗ, ਇਜ਼ਨਟ ਇਟ ਸੈਪਿੰਗ?
that is absolutely right, yeah.
ਸੋ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਆਪਾਂ ਚੱਲਾਂਗੇ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਣਾ ਐਨਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਵੱਲ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ। ਬਿਫੋਰ ਐਨਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਆਫਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ। ਸੋ ਵਿਚ ਟਾਈਪ ਆਫ ਆਫਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਡੂ ਯੂ ਥਿੰਕ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੀ ਆਫਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਨ?
It's all dependent on them, because not everybody's the same, but I use written affirmations, so I write things down on an A4 piece of paper.
Hanji.
You know, and I get creative, so I don't just say I'm fabulous, I'm amazing. You know, I relate it to big role models. So for example, Cristiano Ronaldo, footballer, so I'm the Cristiano Ronaldo of the motivational world. And then from Lord of the Rings, the White Wizard, I make comebacks like the White Wizard from Lord of the Rings. So similar things, and I even put, and bearing in mind 2 years ago I was a bit more flabby, I didn't have as big arms, I still put on there, I am one sexy person. So
yeah,
that to read that and then to sort of put that in my mindset was like, yeah, you know, and that's what drove me to actually make that happen. So I kept looking at that and I kept working. So whenever I said, oh, I can't be bothered, I looked at that and I thought, well, I better get into the gym and work out. And you know, suddenly I've toned up a bit more now. So
so you're getting better with your affirmation, huh? That's your prescription, isn't it? That's why.
That's it. Yeah. I've got about 51 affirmations written all
51.
around my house.
Oh God. So your house is full of affirmations.
When I wake up, my wardrobe is speaking to me with all the different affirmations. I get up, my phone's showing me positive pictures of my role models, and then obviously when I put the phone on, I've got the positive ringtones on there, so I'm always waking up to positivity.
So ਸੁੱਕੀ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵੀ ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਆਫਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਇੱਕ ਲੇਬਲਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੱਟ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਡਰੋਜ਼ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਤੇ ਲਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਆਪਣੀ ਰਿੰਗਟੋਨ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਔਨ ਆਫਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਲਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਾਫੀ ਮਦਦ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੈ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵਿਟੀ, ਆਈ ਐਮ ਗੁੱਡ, ਆਈ ਐਮ ਹੈਪੀ, ਸਿੰਪਲ ਤੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਆਈ ਐਮ ਬਿਊਟੀਫੁਲ, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ 'ਚ ਕਮੀ ਆ ਉਹਨੂੰ opposite way करके वो affirmation तुसी अपने लगा सकते हो कि I am happy, I am not, you know, जो ਆਪਾਂ anxiety चो गुजर रहे होंदे आ सैटविंटर उदों ਆਪਾਂ फील करते हैं भी सानू कोई पसंद नहीं करता। People like me, simple ਜਿਹੜੀ affirmation है वो ਅਸੀਂ अपने wardrobe ਤੇ अपने bedroom ਦੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਲਗਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਿਹਾ ਬਟ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਫੀਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ। ਸੋ ਇੱਕ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵਿਟੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ। affirmation is very important। ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਚੋਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਆਪਣੀ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਗਾਓਗੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੇਖੋਗੇ ਵੀ does really work। I mean it helps so many people। It's very simple and very effective way of getting out of depression। ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ 'ਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਟਰਾਈ ਕਰਕੇ ਦੇਖੋ। 4-5 start with the 5 affirmation। ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੈਡਰੂਮ ਦੇ ਜਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਿਚਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਸਪੈਂਡ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਉਹ ਅਗਰ ਲਗਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਸੁਖੀ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਣਾਂਗੇ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ। ਸੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਰਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਕੀ ਹੈ।
Anxiety ਹੁੰਦਾ when you over worry about things too much, so you can worry about the little things, you can get overwhelmed so quickly, है ना। ਜਿਹੜਾ ਛੋਟੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ worry ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਕਹਿੰਦਾ oh my god ਹੁੰਦਾ I don't know whether I'm going to cope, just little insecurities that, you know, quite normal, happens, and sometimes you can get so overwhelmed with things, you know? So that for me is what anxiety is. It's sudden, even over the smallest things, sudden shoot-ups of worries. It's like, oh my god, this is going to happen, and your mind starts to create little scenarios that it might happen which won't actually happen, but you're just an overthinker and
create ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਇੱਕ ਫਿਲਮ ਬਣਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ which is not good। How it's feel like, ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ feeling ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ anxiety?
It feels overwhelming. It makes you feel nervous. It makes you panic.
It's like a panic attack, huh?
It is, yeah. It is like a panic attack. I used to sort of panic a lot before, but now I've learned to sort of slide it easy. Don't get me wrong, still get them now and then, but I've learned to not overwhelm myself with too much in the day, so I'll give myself freedom just to sort of relax, especially before big events. You know, because before big events people can get very anxious and sometimes not sleep.
That's quite normal too. I mean, certain time if some anxiety is good, say examination, or you coming to the studio, or doing a radio show, or you know when you go
some people don't sleep before big events because they get anxious, or it's the excitement sometimes, and I'm like that sometimes, so it's
a good you know, anxiety and bad. We're going to talk about a little bit about bad anxiety. You know, when you was going through anxiety, what did help you when you was you know, anxiety ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੀ?
Talking to people.
Talk to people. Who do you used to talk?
My friends, my family, just telling them how I feel, what I suffer, why I feel it. So I got into the nitty-gritty. This is why I'm feeling anxious, because this has happened and that's happened, and I fear this and that's going to happen. So when they reach out to you and say, I've been there, I know how you feel, this is how I help myself. And that's when I got into a routine in the evening. So playing my Xbox. When I go to bed, play my music, relax, visualize, and then lie in bed and probably do either some reading or just go on social media, and then find myself being tired. And then, you know, it's a routine. The most important thing is to have a routine a day, because I think a lot of the reason why anxiety is happening is because people don't have a routine. So when you have a routine every morning, every night, every day, it does work out for you.
So ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰੂਟੀਨ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਘੱਟ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਬਟ ਜਦੋਂ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਦਾ ਅਟੈਕ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸਮਟਾਈਮ what you need to do that time, what did you do when you had anxiety attack? ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ you are not able to cope that time, ਹੁਣ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਾਂ?
Stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing, put the brakes on. It's like if your car's feeling a bit temperamental, you don't carry on driving it, you stop and you just try and sort of get a breather. And what it allows you to do is to allow you to think more and ask yourself why you're getting anxious. Sometimes I like to write things down, and what I do is I do the and I work with people a lot where I write down my anxieties in red, and then in a column I write the positive sort of bounce off of it. So for example, if I'm feeling anxious because I think my car might break down because it's on the motorway, but then I say, well, no, your car won't break down, you'll be fine. So it's almost like you're assuring yourself, but people, I put right in red, but people are going to think less of me. In green I put, but you've come so far, so people think more of you. So when you write it down and you see it for yourself, it's different. I mean, when I broke up, when I had to break up with my ex-partner, and my mind was anxious about what I did wrong, or how bad a person I was, or what happened. But then in the next column, in bright coloured, I write everything that went right, and I wrote so much of that. The list of wrongs was so small, the list of positive things was so big. So I look at that every day and thinking, well, actually I've come really far, because it's in black and white, it's in front of my face, and it's telling me every single day.
So your mind actually plays a game, isn't it? It's like when you are in anxiety, it's your thoughts playing up.
Absolutely.
So anxiety ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਡੇ ਥੋਟਸ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਾਈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਪਲੇ ਅਪ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਈਡ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੰਗੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੰਗੇ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤੇ ਦੂਸਰੀ ਸਾਈਡ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਬੈਡ ਹੈ ਐਂਡ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਥੋਟਸ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਦੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਸੋ ਸਤਵਿੰਦਰ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿਖਦਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਾਂ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਰਾਈਟ ਇਟ ਡਾਊਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੀ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੈ ਕਿਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਲਿਖੋ ਤੇ ਉਹਦਾ ਆਪੋਜ਼ਿਟ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਲਿਖੋ ਸੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਲੱਗੇਗਾ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗੀ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੂਸਰਾ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੇ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਵੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੋਏਗੀ ਚੰਗੀ ਭਲੀ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ there is nothing going to be wrong with your car ਸੋ ਇਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪੋਜ਼ਿਟ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਲਿਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਦੂਰ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਲੂ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਬੈਸਟ ਵੇ ਇੱਕ ਕਿਉਰ ਮੰਨਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਵੀ ਸੇ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਪ੍ਰਿਸਕ੍ਰਿਪਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਈ ਮੀਨ ਦੈਟਸ ਰਿਸਰਚ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰਾਈਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਕੁਝ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਫੀਲਿੰਗਸ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਾਹਿਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਉਹ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ एंजाइटी है आहिस्ता आहिस्ता फिनिश होनी चालू हो जाती है सो एंजाइटी जिन्होंने सफरिंग होती है वो राइट करन अपना सो कि देयर इज लॉट्स ऑफ पीपल आई थिंक इन आवर कम्यूनिटी जेडे लिख नहीं सकते ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਹੋਗੇ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਲਿਖਣਾ ਪੜਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਂਦਾ what they can they do voice recording or something
voice recording if you can't read or write use your voice anything where you can hear your own voice or where you can see something anything where you can hear if you can't write anything you can hear or see the best alternative
so ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲਿਖਣਾ ਪੜਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਂਦਾ ਉਹ ਬੋਲ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਦੱਸ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਨਾਈਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਬੈਡਰੂਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਸਰਟਨ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਪਲੇਸ ਤੇ ਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਕਾਪੀ ਪੈਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਵੀ ਕਾਂਟ ਰੀਲੀ ਰਾਈਟ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੋਲ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਦੱਸ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣੋ ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹਦਾ ਉਦਾਹਰਣ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਇਹ ਕੀ ਸੱਚੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਡਾ ਮਾਈਂਡ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਪਲੇ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸਾਡਾ ब्रेन ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਇੱਕ ਕਲਾਊਡ ਜਿਹਾ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਰਾਈਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਬੋਲ ਕੇ ਉਹਦਾ ਆਨਸਰ ਖੋਜੋਗੇ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਨਸਰ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਸੋ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਟੋਕ ਥੈਰੇਪੀ ਦੇ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਆਪ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਸੋ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਇਟਸ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਫੀਲਿੰਗਸ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਫੀਲਿੰਗਸ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਚਿਰ ਲਈ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਮੇਨ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸੋਚਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਐਂਡ ਇਟਸ ਗੋਇੰਗ ਟੂ ਬੀ ਓਵਰ ਉਹ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਰਾਤ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਦਿਨ ਚੜ੍ਹਦਾ ਇਸੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਹੈ ਫਿਊ ਸੈਕਿੰਡਸ ਲਈ ਕਈਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਈਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਿਊ ਮਿੰਟਸ ਤੱਕ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਈਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਵਰਸ ਤੱਕ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ ਬਟ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਿਕਲ ਜਾਣਾ ਇਟਸ ਨਾਟ ਫੋਰ ਐਵਰ ਸੋ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ 'ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੋਈ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਪਲਾਨ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਤੋਂ ਦੂਰ ਹੋ ਸਕੋ ਆਈਦਰ ਯੂ ਰਾਈਟ ਔਰ ਯੂ ਟੋਕ ਟੂ ਸਮਬਡੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਅਗਰ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਟੋਕ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ ਇਜ਼ ਦ ਬੈਸਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ अपनी गल सुनो भी तुसी की कहना चाहते हो क्योंकि सैल्फ हीलिंग जिहड़ी हैगी है सब तो इंपोर्टेंट होंदी है सैल्फ लव जिहड़ा हैगा दैट्स द मेन पार्ट जदों असीं डिप्रैशन एंड एनजाइटी की गल करते हैगे आ एंड सुखी ने अपने आप नूं इसे तरीके दे नाल हील कीता हैगा ही हेल्प्ड हिमसेल्फ नाउ ही इज़ हेल्पिंग मैनी पीपल इन्हां दी बुक्स भी सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन जिहड़ी हैगी है वो इसे बारे है ताकि ये दूसरिਆਂ ਦੀ हेल्प कर सकन देयर इज़ नो कॉस्ट फॉर दैट सो सैल्फ हीलिंग जिहड़ी हैगी है इट्स अ पावरफुल एंड सैल्फ लव दे बारे असीं जाणांगे सुखी कोलों भी सैल्फ लव होंदा की है सम टाइम असी अपने आप नूं प्यार करना भुल जाते असी लोकां नाल करदे आ साडे आले दुआले साडे बच्चे आ साडे पेरेंट्स ने अपनी केयर जिहड़ी है वो असी नहीं करते हैगे सो कि टेल मी लिटिल बिट मोर अबाउट सैल्फ लव होंदा की है पहले तां
self love is when you put yourself first when you make the decision to take your attention away from other people and other things and praising them and put it on yourself. You know, it's most common when you're when a relationship breakup, you're always thinking about, oh, what's she doing now and why she did this to me. Forget that. It's about you and it's all about you. I mean, some of the things I've done for self-love, I've took myself to Alton Towers, you know, I've took myself out to eat in a restaurant, I celebrate Christmas by myself and I enjoy every minute of it. You know, just putting you first and realising that you don't need to put your happiness in anybody else's pocket. You know, you take charge of your happiness.
We got only 1 minute and we are not able to talk about the menopause actually. So
it's okay.
So we will talk on our next health talk show definitely. But any message you like to give it to our viewers before we leave?
Just basically never give up on yourself. You know, things can be hard and it is okay to feel down, but don't stay down for too long. Get back up, keep fighting, and do not give up on yourself.
And about book, if they need this book, where can they get the book from?
On my website, satwindersagu.com, www.satwindersagu.com. You can order it and then obviously I will put in a message and sign it for you and send it straight out to you. So get hold of it. You will be so inspired by the stories.
Thank you so much, Satwinder, for coming to Kashi TV. Thank you. And you will get the autograph as well, which is the best thing, isn't it? So autograph भी तानू मिलन के book ते ज़रिए दे नाल. So thank you so much, Satwinder, coming once again. And इधे नाल ही साडा आज दा हाल talk show इथे ही समाप्त होंदा. मिलांगे next week किसी होर guest दे नाल. तब तक के लिए मैनू दो इजाज़त. जय गुरुदेव.